Hi, everybody. Okay, let's move that out of the way just a little bit. Everybody, this is 2006 days since Richard was forcibly removed from his barracks room and his life was taken from him in a code red on base, and it was down in the basement room, and that is the arms room. There's the seal on the door. We've published that. And we also have confirmation that an illegal order came from Major General James Eisenhower to spare no expense, spend whatever you want to have that room renovated and bypass the regulations forbidding that the Army has. Just get it done really quick, and you can pay whatever you want. Um, yeah, it was an illegal order. That's an illegal order, and um, that was the crime scene where they took our son's life and they stole his body off of Fort Bliss, and they trafficked it to Mexico. And we believe that his partial remains, because there's huge indications with the evidence that his organs were taken. And we believe that his partial remains are been dumped at Plenitude Crematorium, at which was raided. The owners, Maria, Rosa Maria Purchase Arliano Caron, and her family live in El Paso, are in the who's who circle in El Paso with the El Paso cartel in alliance with um, Mexican organized criminal activity. Of course, that's the cartel. And even um, even have lived right next to Beto O'Rourke. So it's, all of it's connected. And we've put up, let's see if I'm on. I'm not even. I've put up several. It's been such a wild day, and I've put up such viral posts today, very viral posts today, and have been receiving a lot of communication from those posts that are so important. And of course, this week already, and we're, halfway through, um, eh, getting law enforcement information on a Sunday, being contacted by law enforcement, confirming that we are right about our son's um, case being intertwined with the Walmart shooting case, and the Walmart shooting case being staged. That's been confirmed by multiple, even investigators. Um, and also all of the investigating that we've done into the death of Peter Melendez, rest in peace, with all of the irregularities that is surrounding that death. He's an investigator for the district attorney's office there in El Paso, and it's a big problem for Montoya, because Montoya is a fake, is a fraud. And so this is a huge problem for him, that one of his investigators is no more alive, and um, absolutely getting information, confirmation that he was being targeted, and I'm talking about Peter Melendez was targeted and um, bullied by members in that office. And we have also confirmation from government officials that want you to know that there is multiple investigations going on in that office, and one of them is a federal investigation into John Briggs. So I absolutely um, am at liberty to say that. Um, and that is a big one, y'all. That's a real big one. And I try to post on that tomorrow because it is just very, very important to our son's case. It involves the Walmart mass shooting case. It involves our son's case. And we know that when you don't have a legitimate prosecutor, there's a big problem. It's such a big problem that the Texas Constitution doesn't allow for that office to be vacant. And so what they're doing is having these fake judges, because El Paso has fake judges, illegal medical examiner, unqualified chief of police for El Paso ISD, and a fake and fraud district attorney. And there's more, and there's more. Um, then what they're doing is purposely, intentionally blocking accountability. And for our son's case, a lot of accountability needs to happen, right? A lot of accountability. So, this is why this is so important, and it's being exposed. It needs to be exposed. It's been going on for a long time. Lots of and the uh, El Pasoans absolutely can understand now why things are the way they are. They can absolutely understand, because you can have law enforcement, but if your judges and your prosecutors are fake and frauds and absolutely illegal and compromised and part of the cartel, part of the El Paso, the Mormon faction, El Paso cartel, in alliance with the Mexican cartels that are, for the most part, designated as FTOs. There is a big problem there, right? Especially when it inserts itself into the military, which it has. It absolutely has. And then you get a hero like Richard who sees something and says something and is very clever and documents it and files it. And they're shocked that, oh my gosh, we need to compromise him, right? And they try to send in their compromisers because this is an organized crime. This is absolutely organized crime. This is part of this one world order kind of thing, or the new world order kind of thing. I tend to use the one word because they want to rule everything, right? It's kind of like one ring to rule them all. I mean, it's so evil, right? It's just very, very evil. And that's why there's so much foreign influence and foreign funding. And absolutely, the power structure, the Mormon cartel leadership, the Mormon faction cartel leadership of the El Paso cartel, that's up to no good, up to their eyeballs, is absolutely in alliance with the Mexican cartels, but also with foreign actors like Soros, and that's been confirmed. Okay, Soros' his money is also financing the things going on in in Minnesota, and that has come out with these signal communications. Signal is a communication application on the phone that you can download. I communicate with it once in a while, and so those have been revealed to show that what's happening in Minnesota against ICE has been absolutely an operation, like a military operation, and it has leaders and at the highest levels and funding at the highest levels and training, and they have. I know that in Renee. Renee's case, who just was killed not too long ago, that she was considered a monitor, right? Or her mother was considered a monitor in it, and her mother has ties to Haitian children. Um, so yeah, father has all kinds of problems. Um, but that gives her motive to want to join this kind of group to earn some money, organize rioters, right? Trained organized rioters that step by step, many people are putting it out there now because they're all researching it, that the whistles are on purpose, that they have a real effect on law enforcement, uh, individuals, that it is proven the high pitched sound of it is has a psychological and physical um, uh, reaction to it that impedes them doing their job. These are not protesters because it's not organic, it's not grassroots, it's not peaceful. It's not peaceful. It's coming out about Alex that he had a bruised or a broken rib from like a week ago from tussling with ICE then. So they probably know him. They know these agitators, and they will, have these monitors and spotters and quick responders to pull off these riots with funding, with equipment, with cameras, and then they go on social media, and then they put out a lot of narrative out there, and they're up to no good. They want to harm the law enforcement. One of the law enforcement got his finger bit off, and I want to make this very very clear that I absolutely agree that that there are bad actors in the ICE, that there are bad actors in the CID. I mean, one of them is well, he lost his credentials and his badge, but um, in the CID is one of them is a suspect, and what happened to Richard, and there's others that participated, and all the tampering and um, lies and all the lies, the cover up, you know. And so, and also in the FBI, look at you got Colin Winton leaking Richard's identity to the cartel, putting a target on his back. I think he's really responsible for Richard's death, giving that okay to that he was going to leak Richard's identity as a whistleblower to the cartel. You know, um, it's terrible. And then of course you have even Congress and senators. You have Senator Ted Cruz. Look what he did. He deserves nothing good. He deserves to be absolutely his whole career to be ruined. Um, he had everything handed to him on a silver platter when it comes to Richard's case. And and he chose to be a sellout. He absolutely chose the quid pro quo of the El Paso um, cartel, Mormon faction elites that donate to his campaigns. You know, so this is not for us. This is not um, really a party issue, even though we absolutely side with President Trump, with Make America Great Again. We absolutely, because all of his actions have been totally, he's doing miraculous things behind the scenes. People don't understand the mutinous nature of our institutions and our military right now, and to have a commander in chief, a president of the United States that understands that, because he was so attacked by them, right? He was so attacked by them, that understands them and is a negotiator and is the art of the deal, and to save our country. Can you imagine trying um, to do it any other way would cause so many deaths, because it would be all out civil war, right? So what's happening right now is it might take just a little bit longer, but it's not too much longer, because we're getting arrests all the times. We're getting um, leaders singing all the time. Look at Maduro, singing like, like a canary, or like Frank Sinatra, right? And others like the Olympian cartel guy. He's going to be singing like Frank Sinatra. And of course, the Miss Universe, and that has everything to do with El Paso and the trafficking that was going on, and it is going on, but not as in full force, because this group wants access to children. And so we put up the Ted Cruz story, which is really, really big, and people want to know how that's tied to TPUSA. Well, TPUSA is Fort Huachuca, is the sister city of Fort Bliss, and Senator Ted Cruz has oversight of Fort Bliss, and he could still, he could still. It's not too late to do the right thing. But right now at this time, he has chose to be a sellout, absolutely sellout to the quid pro quo, to the Mormon faction. And the Mormon faction is very, very big at Fort Bliss and Fort Huachuca and other bases. And that's Fort Huachuca is very tied to Erika Kirk, because of the contracts, and the likes of Woody Hunt, with Soros. Woody Hunt is El Paso cartel main power player, right? And he's and has all of these contracts, military contracts, and so does Erika Kirk's family. And then you have Tyler Robinson with his boyfriend, furry person, that has big ties to Jerry. Um, what is his name? Twigs. Jerry Twigs, who is absolutely in just about, maybe not as high as league as Woody Hunt, but right there with them. And then Erika Kirk keeping uh, the security team that failed her husband. Okay, the security team that failed her husband, she's keeping them. Wow, why would you do that? It, they put Charlie Kirk in a hole. They put Charlie Kirk in a hole. In a hole. In a very dangerous position. Low ground. Surrounded. um, didn't care uh, that their camera, um, I'm getting calls. I get calls all the time. Um, that their drones were refused. Didn't care. Put them in a hole anyway. Um, didn't look at the. Didn't care about the roofs. Right. Put them in a hole anyway. Even after what happened to President Trump at Butler, Pennsylvania, they still put him in a hole and didn't check the roofs. Um, this is a huge failure of this security team, and Erika Kirk is keeping them. Why would she keep them? They're from Allen, Texas. Allen, Texas. Um, Dan Flood is from Allen, Texas. Who else is from Allen, Texas? And you got Brian Harple, right? This Dallas Fort Worth area, is very familiar to me. I grew up in Temple, Texas. I grew up in El Paso, Texas, and then Temple, Texas. So I know the DFW area. I have friends there, went and visited up there. I know the El Paso area. I was born at White Sands Missile Range in New Mexico, um, but lived and went to school in, swam under Colonel Johnson. We called him CJ at the replica pool. Went over to Juarez lots of times, lots of times. Um, and of course, in Temple, all the football and Plano was one of the big competitors to Temple Wildcats. Um, so I know, and of course, performing 3 times for the Dallas Cowboys halftime show. I performed 3 times for the Dallas Cowboys halftime show. I know DFW area, and it's Raytheon. It's what is the other one? Um, it'll come to me. It's even though it's earlier tonight, isn't it? It's earlier, but let me tell you, the last few days with all the information coming in, it has been a huge blessing. And I mean, very busy, very, very busy. So, even though we try to enjoy the snow day, but yeah, this DFW area is really a hub for a huge hub, maybe the epicenter for the military industrial complex and all the contracts and everything and intelligence area. And so Allen, Texas is key to all of this. And John Brian Crucius, the father of Patrick Crucius, call him Pat C, right? Pat C. That they're from Allen, Texas. They're from Allen, Texas. And there's others in this case, in the Walmart case, that are from Allen, Texas. Allen, Texas is not too big. It's not very big at all compared to the rest of the DFW area. And yet here you have this common denominator again. And Erika Kirk is keeping um, this failed security team. I'd kick them out. I'd absolutely kick them out, but there must be some other reason, right? There must be some other reason, and things are not going normal for Erika Kirk. Um, the narrative surrounding her is just spiraling down into a very dark pit. And so and this is so detrimental um to the United States. I really feel that it is detriment. I mean, it needs to happen because in this organization and in El Paso, there's been impersonators of the conservative movement, right? The Make America Great Again. There's impersonators, there's imposters, there's infiltrators, and it's happened on a very big scale in the conservative movement. because they are imposters that impersonate Christians to get donations, to mislead people, to form their moral compass, and all of that. This is all coming out. Um, and that's why things look so weird and it's really stinky. It's just things just are not right. They're just not right, right? It's all contorted. Everything's kind of contorted. Um, and so now you know why, because there's imposters, there's impersonators. And when you have impersonators, they leave as I can put it, as you will, a fingerprint. And that fingerprint all over the place is like the spirit of that person, right? Of that person, of that group. There's a spirit, there's a language, there is a purpose behind. And when you uncover it, like we've uncovered it, you can see the fingerprints very clearly. And those fingerprints are the Mormon faction El Paso cartel. That's where, you know, and so the fingerprints of the El Paso Mormon faction cartel are all over TPUSA and Erika Kirk, all over this investigation on the death of Charlie Kirk. They're all over the investigation for our son Richard Halliday, and all over the investigation for the Walmart shooting. And I'm sure in other instances too. Um, there is this spirit to it that, and I can just say, like a fingerprint, right? It's like um, a facial recognition. It's like a facial recognition of this organization, of this cartel group. The points line up in a certain way that identifies who they are. And so Fort Huachuca, Fort Bliss, what happened to President Trump twice, right? What happened to Charlie Kirk, what happened to our son, the Walmart shooting. They all have these points that align perfectly. And if you put them through this criminal organization recognition app, like facial recognition, it would point to the El Paso. Um, Sorry, I'm just getting phone call after phone call. Um, there's there's just this facial recognition points, but it's not for the facial recognition. It's for the criminal organization recognition app. I think we should have that, right? I think someone should invent that because it's very clear from our investigations um, who's who by by aligning these dots, so to speak. All the measurements that they use, but you can measure all those dots within this group and within this group and within this group, and they when you overlay them, they match. They match. And so, what's happened with the Minnesota riots? It's totally criminal organization. Now we know through the signal, because it's so organized, right? They have the funding, they have those that organize it, those that order or even 3D print out the whistles, thousands of them, right? The ones that do the training, the ones that monitor, the ones that are the spotters, the ones that do the rapid responders, all of that. It's kind of like uh, the rules for radicals, a book, right? That's what it's kind of for, like that's their handbook or something. And that's why um, when Alex lost his life in a horrible thing, right? Really horrible. And the same thing with Renee, a horrible thing. And the ICE officers are put through this, which is a horrible thing for them. I just can't even imagine what they go through. That these rioters that lost their lives, they have history. They have history, and that history, that those points that align, is uh, aligns to this huge possibility of this. I call it the one world order of child trafficking, access to children, right? And of course you have to have guns and ammunition and drugs um and contracts and everything. um and it just aligns to that. So that's where Erika Kirk is. She has the Chinese connections of, victims of, I don't know if I can say it online, but so she admitted to that, and she is, uh, I just think her dots align so perfectly with this criminal group. When you match up her facial little recognition dots, it's like, wow, 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 wow. She's just up to no good with this whole Romanian children thing. The way she took over, the way it is like a huge business. And it is a big business, right? And we understand that. But something is very stinky because the dots align too perfect. And of course, the Allen, Texas connection with her security team to John Patrick Crucius, or John Brian Crucius, Patrick Crucius's father, who was learning from the disciples of John of God. We have that video. I'm going to post that. And John of God is being, promoted by none other than Oprah with all of her followers. And he turns out to be running these farms, the worst type of crimes against young women, the worst type of crimes against babies. It's all about the access to babies and all of that. And so he was, arrested for that and convicted of that. And here Oprah's part of it. Oprah, was endorsing uh, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz and Beto O'Rourke. And, when you put all the dots onto Oprah, she lines up exactly with this El Paso Mormon faction cartel. She lines up perfect with that spirit, with that recognition app, the recognition app for just the worst type of crimes. And of course with Jeffrey Epstein. And when you put the nodes on top of Jeffrey Epstein, he aligns as well, right? And it's no mistake that his Zorro Ranch is right there, nor just bordering the north call up of White Sands Missile Range. And if you follow the pipeline down through Mexico and over to Cuba, through Haiti and Dominican Republic to Puerto Rico, voila, there is his little St. James island, right? And I mean, it just that map is just jaw dropping, and of course it went viral. It's just unbelievable when you see that map. Everything makes sense because you see Brazil right there where the John of God farms were, and you see Venezuela where um, the voter interference, right? The election interference and the oil, and of course the oil was being stolen. But the voter interference, why? Why is voter interference so important to them? because they want to control. They're going to put in their impersonators, they're going to put in their imposters into these positions so that they can control who are the judges, who are the prosecutors, who are the medical examiners, who are, so that's why the elections, because they want to continue doing the worst type of crimes against children, giving access to children with impunity. They want to do it without, controlling every case. That's why Colin Wenton is such a bad guy, because he leaked Richard's whistleblower of reports, his identity, um, to the cartel to put a target on him. And so this is where, Ted Cruz is such a sellout, because he had a very courageous whistleblower, Judge Roger Rodriguez. He had his complaint on January 18th, 2022. He had it on his desk. And in October, so months and months later, October 2022, he met with Judge Roger Rodriguez. Senator Ted Cruz met with Judge Roger Rodriguez, and Judge Roger Rodriguez confronted Ted Cruz about his filing, which confirmed that there was foul play in Richard's case. And this is, and look, he had that January. You would think that Ted Cruz, who was in communication with us, would have told us, because the Army had labeled Richard Conus Dust One missing. And, he had it right there by someone that has the highest credentials, being the coordinator for anti-terrorism and homeland security programs on Fort Bliss, and a judicial officer, to say, look, there's foul play, and I can identify the prime suspects in the case against Richard, or the investigation into Richard's um, no longer being able to live, right? Um, I have to be so careful how I say things, but the prime suspects for who did it, who took Richard's life, were named, and the tampering, the leaking of his files, and so all that was given to Ted Cruz in January of 2022. In October, months later, when he was confronted, um, you know, it's just a sad story, because it's quid pro quo. Of course, the Mormon faction cartel are involved in what happened to our son, and they're big donors to Ted Cruz. They're big donors to Beto O'Rourke. They play both sides, okay? And this is like World War II and the Rothschilds, right? They funded both sides. And this is what's happening there in El Paso, in Texas. They're funding, Soros is funding both sides. Big players like Woody Hunt are funding both sides, and this is a big quid pro quo. So yeah, and I think, let me make sure that I'm answering all the things. Oh, Tabitha's on, when conspiracy isn't really conspiracy. Stay safe and glad you've got justice and are helping expose the vile criminals. Have you heard about the I've heard about, yes, I have. And it's, um, yeah, when you learn about La Diabla targeting young women that are in crisis pregnancies, and offering them jobs and a place to stay and everything, and illegal C-sections, cheap. Oh, you don't have to pay for this. Illegal C-sections, and then by 16, 17-year-old girls, and taking the babies, but also taking their organs too. When she was just recently arrested. Her name is Martha Alicia Mendez Aguilar, and she's known as La Diabla. And her family was working for Beto O'Rourke. Okay, her family. So you have the dumping ground because she's connected to Plenitude Crematorium, belonging to Rosa Maria Purchase Aguilar Caron, um, Ramirez, right? Um, having that and having her family living next to Beto O'Rourke, and then having Justin Underwood's wife working alongside La Diabla's family for Beto O'Rourke and for the campaign, and then having Danae Katza, remember credit card girl, who had Richard's credit cards after his life was taken, with other things, and she was working for Beto O'Rourke. Beto O'Rourke is yeah, he's absolutely part of what happened to Richard. Okay, he's absolutely um, part of this. And so so when I'm saying I want accountability, that's him. And he's a very protected individual. He was running for president, right? He got so high that he could run for president of the United States against Donald Trump. So, this is this is just a miracle, this is just a miracle that we're at this point, and it's looking good for us. It's looking very good to get our son's remains and to get accountability. And it's just God's hand is all over this, and I appreciate all your prayers. Um, it's been a crazy few days, absolutely. Okay. Um, yeah, we have a lot of viral posts, and my goodness, my goodness. So, so I did talk about Ted Cruz and Erika Kirk and this one world order. This maybe it should be the Node app. Warning, warning. A one world order nodes lighting up, lighting up. Beware, you've got really evil satanic uh criminal trafficking, Mormon faction cartel, um individuals doing their thing, right? Don't trust them because they're imposters or they're deceivers. And I can't stress this enough. They will tell you that they are someone else that they are not. Like Montoya. Montoya tells you he's a district attorney. He is not. He's a fake and a fraud. And then you have the criminal law magistrate court saying that they are judges. They're not. They're fakes and frauds. You have the medical examiner, Mario Raskin Ortiz, telling you that he is the chief medical examiner, extracting $500,000 a year from you in taxpayers' money. And he's telling you that he is a medical examiner. He's not. He's a fake and fraud and illegally in the country, right? And then you have Manny Chavira saying he is the chief of El Paso Police, right? And they gave him that position without having a peacekeeper's license, right? Uh, so he's also, I don't even know, they're imposters. They're quid pro quo. They're impersonators. They're deceivers. They'll say, "Oh, well, we're the media. We want to talk to you. We might, we." They're just counterintelligence operatives. They just want to know what you know and use it against you, right? So you have to be very very careful with these imposters, these deceivers, these impersonators, and they must be scrutinized um, from top to bottom, right to left, and all around. they need to be scrutinized because this is what's happening. You have now TPUSA, and never felt that way with Charlie Kirk. I wasn't really a great follower of Charlie Kirk. I knew who he was, of course, but um, I think that there was a great infiltration of these deceivers, imposters, impersonators, because the direction that TPUSA is going into, the reactions to the investigation and to what happened to Charlie Kirk, uh, we get the warning lights. Warning, warning, warning. The nodes are lining up. They've aligned with the El Paso Mormon faction cartel nodes. Warning, warning, warning. These are the same people, right? And that's what we're getting here. That's what we're getting. And so, and I hope that's a good analogy. You know, uh, something is really rotten. Something is really stinky. The nodes are lining up. They're flashing, and these people are a danger to national security. They're a danger to the President of the United States. They're, of course, a danger to volunteer sons and daughters that are supposed to be safe when they're in their barracks room on a military installation where they serve. Um, Richard wasn't. And he wasn't afforded the protection. And so this is where, when that was called out, and Ted Cruz had it on his desk, and it's not too late. Ted Cruz could still do it. But Ted Cruz has proven himself to be part of a very evil, well, he's a sellout. He's taken the money, you see. He's taken the money. The same thing with Gonzalez, right? Gonzalez took the money too, and so did Veronica Escobar, and so did Beto O'Rourke. So these are captured individuals. They're working for foreign and domestic enemies that want to destroy our national security. That is a risk to the President of the United States, whether you like who's president at the time or not. This is a danger to the President of the United States. And Charlie Kirk said it anyway, that the intelligence agencies, which they control, okay, they are really in the intelligence agencies, I tell you. That's why we're not getting the response. I think there's, a shakeup going on right now, but there's some work to be done there. And, they just want to act with impunity. And when they have that kind of access to our uh, databases, when they have access to our intelligence databases, which they do, and we have detected it, we have documented it, and we have filed it with multiple agencies, that there is a breach in our intelligence databases and they have access to it, and that puts whistleblowers at danger, agents in danger, witnesses in danger. And so we filed that already. This is, this is about our country. And of course, um, our son. If they can take our son's body off of Fort Bliss after they did a code red on him and then traffic it, possibly take his organs and dump his remains in Juarez, right over the border, at Beto O'Rourke's neighbors' illicit, disgusting, evil body dumping ground, where when you go there, you find 400 plus corpses piled up like cordwood with rat infested, mold, mildew everywhere, just rotten stench. The picture of hell, the smell of hell. When that can happen, and the senator that has oversight is just lining his pockets in conspiracy with them, in cooperation with them, in line with them, um, for what? It's, yeah. I'll let you finish that sentence. I'll let you. Especially that we had open communications with him. He knew exactly how to get in touch with us, and he knew that the military was telling us that our son was CONUS Dust 1, and he didn't even call us to let us know, hey, we've got the coordinator for anti-terrorism and homeland security programs on Fort Bliss filing in his judicial capacity the foul play, and the tampering and the leaking and naming prime suspects in your son's case for taking his life. Ted Cruz couldn't call us and tell us that. I think that he has absolutely committed um, some major crimes there. And I'll let you finish the sentences. So, thank you, everyone. And, I hope I explained that well. And I'm just going to say thank you to everybody for coming on. I know my times are very random, but we've been doing this for 206 days every day. Sorry, 2006, for 5.5 years. 5.5 years we've been doing this. So my times are random, and, um, uh, you know, uh, because of all kinds of information coming in. And yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for everyone's patience and flexibility. And please share, because we are a government that's ran by the people, for the people, of the people. And you're sharing, and your votes, you're sharing, you're talking about this is so powerful. You know, I never knew. And through this, it's everything. It's everything. And that's why they spend so much money, and then they'll even do a bloody shooting to affect an election, which they did with the Walmart shooting, and they tampered with it, and they staged it, and it was so many victims, so many real victims, and yet they did it just so they can get a false narrative out there, pin it on their opponent, who was President Trump, and to affect the election. It's just, that's how much power people have. That's how much your vote matters, and your likes matter, and your clicking on the bell matters, and your sharing matters. So thank you so much. God bless you. And thank you, Laura, for your prayers, and all your love that you always send. Thank you so much. And I will be back tomorrow, God willing.